What's up, YouTube? Welcome back to the channel. I want to talk to you guys about a new article that just came out from AARP magazine, AARP.com, talking about how to successfully lose weight or manage your weight after the age of 50. Pretty decent article. I'm actually pretty happy with it. Looking at the comments after, there were more complaints about all the ads than the actual article, so that's usually a pretty good thing. But let's take a look in here, as this is definitely kind of a home-based topic for us. All right, so hurdle number one, loss of muscle mass. They totally nailed it here. This is definitely a big part of managing your weight as you get older. Basically, you're going to lose about 10% of your muscle mass after the age of 50. Every decade, you're going to lose about 10%. So if you're not resistance training, that's going to occur naturally. If you are resistance training, you can cut that down pretty drastically, especially for that first one. Really, this is going to start happening in your 30s if you're not resistance training. So 30s, 40s, 50s, as you're kind of getting there, you're probably down 10 to 15%. And then from there, it only gets more aggressive. So if you are lifting weights, 30s, 40s, 50s, that's great. Post 50, as always, it's never too late to improve, but clock's ticking. You really got to get going on this thing, okay? What I really like that they put in here is they're citing research, which is awesome. They had a group in here. They talk about this 2017 study where they had a group divided into three. The first cut 300 calories out of their diet. That's it. The next one cut 300 calories out of their diet and participated in aerobics, 45 minutes of aerobics, I think 4 times a week. And then the third cut the calories, and instead of aerobics, they did resistance training. 18 months later, they came back and checked everybody. And the ones that lost the most weight overall was the aerobics group. Okay, they cut 300 calories and did aerobics. But out of the weight they lost an equal amount of body fat as body mass or lean muscle mass, where the resistance training group lost 20 pounds, which I think the other group lost 22. Did I read that right? Or 20 pounds and then 18 pounds. But they only lost 2 pounds of muscle mass over that 18 months. And I think that's a significant amount to look at. Like, we are going to lose some muscle mass as we age. The goal would be, if you're resistance training enough, is to either gain some, which would be great, or just maintain the muscle mass you have as you age, which is very possible. At some point, 70s, you're going to start losing it no matter what, no matter how hard you train. And that's assuming you never get injured, we never have any issues, and then everything else that's going to come on this list is going to start kicking in. You're going to have to combat those things as well. But I love it that they really address the idea of resistance training, making sure that you see, yes, there's great results in this, that groups that are restricting calorie count and doing cardio, or restricting calorie count and doing resistance training, the one doing the resistance training really brought home the bacon, if you will, in terms of keeping the most of their muscle mass. And then they also address in here, they're like, yeah, cardio is great, but you've got to do your cardio with resistance training, which is kind of seen in every one of these, all 5 of these that they go through. All right, slowing down the metabolism. This is another one here. This is, again, naturally going to happen as you start to age. So they start to look at this as how do we improve it, incorporating strength training, resistance training, weight training, if you will, and then increasing your protein intake. They talk about reducing the amount of processed foods, that eating whole foods and higher quality meats are really good ways to go about it. Increasing your water intake, your nutrients and your vitamins and your mineral intake, so taking your dailies, that type of thing, really addressed a good chunk of this. So yeah, metabolism is going to slow down, but as with pretty much everything else, if we are training it and using it, we can maintain it for a very long long period of time, if not slow it down a bit. Now, at the very end, they talk about, walking and cycling and jogging, this and that. But if you work in high intensity interval training into your morning routines, research has shown that you may get the most effective metabolistic boost in the rest of your day. Now, this is a term that has been bastardized a little bit in our industry. Is it HIIT, high intensity interval training, or is it HIRT, high intensity resistance training? These are 2 different things, but most people refer to them as the same. They will throw HIIT, high intensity interval training, in there when really they mean HIRT with the resistance training. I'm curious, because with the aging body, more research that I've seen shows that HIRT, high intensity with resistance training, is by far the more productive variation of higher intensity work to do, where your high intensity interval training basically means without weight. So you're using body weight or very, very light. You're doing the air bike, you're doing the skier, you're doing the rower, you're doing light medicine ball throws, battling ropes, things that just don't really include like consistent resistance and load, heavy load, where with the HIRT training, it does. Much more research on my end that I have found that suggests HIRT training. So I have a feeling that's what they mean in this, but again, this kind of bastardized term of HIT kind of gets thrown in there in most cases. Hormonal changes. Again, this is going to happen naturally. A couple of different ways to combat that. They talk about reducing, getting your refined sugars out and your starches out of your diet as much as possible. This individual they interview, Yancey, is pretty well versed and pretty well educated and discussing some very good topics in here and citing some good work. They mention, I don't think it's in this one, maybe it's the next one, where they mention, they're like, we don't want you to feel like you have to change everything and reduce everything. It's just making smarter choices rather than every day let's have sugar. You know, our society, especially in America, we are obsessed with sugar. It's in everything, and you know, it's constantly being thrown at us. So finding ways to reduce that, a lot of your carbohydrates and just your chips and your breads and everything else that we tend to overdo is going to have a big part to play in this, all the way down to sleep and nutrition levels and all kinds of good stuff. So addressed in this a little bit, they talk about having some medical intervention and looking at, well, maybe not mentioned too much in here, but this is a talking point for us with aging populations and hormonal changes. Men specifically looking at testosterone replacement therapy, TRT. Women looking at having different hormonal responses as you get close to going into menopause, and having different hormones that you can take to help you maintain estrogen levels or basically kind of replenish. A lot of this has great research behind it. Unfortunately, a lot of it is abused and taken too far, as with anything. A little bit is good. Well, we've got to triple it then, and it's going to be even greater. I see good benefit in using some of these strategies, and especially if you have a medical condition that has led to some of them. I think it's a great thing. I think it's awesome that modern medicine has found a way to help people feel better and do better. We got to make sure that you're being monitored and that your numbers are staying within the healthy ranges, and we're not abusing this. A lot of these, testosterone, for example, once you start to take it, if your body was producing a bit of it and then you start to put in a supplemental option of it, the majority of the time your body's going to go, well, we're getting it somewhere else, we're not going to produce this anymore, and it stops. In some cases, like in mine, my body stopped producing testosterone, period, for years, like almost a decade. It was not good, guys. And so I needed that intervention, and it's helped me a ton. So these are some strategies that can be placed into a regular daily practice, but again, needs to be monitored. And I mean, I'm monitored constantly, monthly, if not every other week, with a lot of the stuff that I do. So some things to consider there. All right, number 4 was the less active lifestyle. Kind of talks about just how inactive people get as we get older. And a lot of the research talks about walking speeds, your gait variation, how quickly you can transition from a sit to a stand, from your walking gait across distance. Just are we as active as we can possibly be? I've seen some very good research, not in this one, but in some other articles that discuss how active the average 60 to 80-year-old was back in the 50s, 60s, 70s versus today. And how we rely so much on our technologies, we rely so much on automation and a lot of the new systematic approaches that we have to things, we don't necessarily have to do anymore that we had to do back in the day. People are retiring earlier, that are finding easier ways and softer ways, if you will, to treat their bodies as we age, where back in the day, as we call it, people worked until they died and they were healthier for it, to be honest. We looked at a lot of research of these individuals in the 50s and 60s, 1950s and 60s, that were in their 70s and 80s age. they were very healthy, they were very active, they were very strong, they had good posture, they had good bone density. It's because they were staying active. I mean, I know it's one of those, like, it's not an aha moment. It's one of those things where you're like, well, no kidding. If you're more active as you age, you're going to stay active. You're going to be healthier. Why aren't we doing it? Why is that something we can all look at and go, no kidding? But nobody's doing it, right? Not many people are doing it. It's a big part of us staying active. I've been surrounded by older adults in my life who just say, I'm old. This is how it is. This is, you expect too much. And I just don't agree with that. I cannot see myself saying, well, I'm 70 now. I can stop exercising. I can stop eating healthy. You're never going to get to a point where this diet or this exercise routine and this challenge that you just got into, it's over. Like, this is a life practice forever. So I think, like, whatever healthy habits and whatever healthy practices that you're doing now, they can never stop. That's why I'm such a pain in the ass on people when they go on vacation, that you have to keep exercising. Because just because you're on vacation, it doesn't mean that everything else stops. Like, your metabolism's like, oh, we're on vacation? Oh yeah, well, we're not gonna keep count of any of these calories then. Like, you're on vacation, you think splurge, you eat twice as much as you normally would, if not more, every day for 7 days. Like, the average American comes back from a 7 to 10 day vacation 7 to 10 pounds heavier than when they left. You guys understand we're talking about 3,500 to 4,000 calories to gain a pound on your body. So that's, the average person's eating 2,000 calories a day. That's like 2 to 2.5 times the amount of calories every day to gain a pound every day, if not more. So it's a lot of eating. That's excessive eating. And then you're gonna go on vacation and go, I'm not gonna exercise. So the only thing that's combating that massive caloric intake, you're just gonna stop doing. And then is your bone density gonna go, nah, we're not gonna worry about it. Gravity's stopping apparently for this next week. None of that's gonna happen. So when you go on vacation, it's time to exercise more, because I know the other damage you're going to do. And I'm not saying don't do it. I mean, I wouldn't want you to eat twice as many calories as normal, but I know you guys are going to have fun. I have fun. I'm going to New Orleans for the national conference here. I'm going to have some, what are they called? The donuts, beignets. I'm going to have some of those. And I'm going to, I don't know, I'm going to have some root beers and I'm going to have a good time. But better well believe I'm going to exercise every day. I mean, if not a little bit more than I normally do. So something to think about. Lifestyle. This is your practice every day, no matter what. You got to keep doing it. Vacation, retirement, whatever comes up, we got to stay on it. And then sleep habits. This one, I was surprised. The comments, a bunch of people were like, blah, 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 I don't want to blah, blah, blah. I got to sleep. I get it. You've worked a whole lifetime and it's, 50 years and you retire. Why am I sleeping 12 hours a day? They're not saying not to sleep. They're saying to have a routine to your sleep. And that a lot of times not having the routine is what's making your sleep habits so difficult. So 2 older people in my life, I will, leave them nameless, but let's call them, I don't know, mom and dad. We'll stay up until midnight or 1 in the morning and then wake up at like 10 or 11 and they're exhausted. And I'm like, well, you guys, your sleep habits are all screwed up here. Like, you're still on East Coast time and you've lived on the West Coast now for a year. Like, rein this shit in, back it up a little bit. And so you got to go to bed at 9, start your routine at 8, and brushing the teeth and turning off the screens and getting in bed and reading your book for an hour or whatnot. Like, get your body to rev down, the light stimulus, all of this stuff. Even with our kids, we have a routine where TVs are off, we got to go brush our teeth. We all sit as a family and watch a TV show or whatever we do. And then we got 45 minutes to an hour until they're actually asleep. That hour, we're brushing our teeth, we're showering, we're getting in pajamas, we're getting in bed, we're saying our good nights, we're getting their waters, then we're gonna read. We read to them. I'm going through this dinosaur book right now. Every night we do a couple of chapters. We kind of prep their clothes for the next morning. Whatever it is that we're doing, we've got a routine. Then the kids are asleep, I go into my room, I grab my clothes for my workout the next morning, I grab my clothes for work the next morning. I put all those together, I take them into the office, put them there with my workout shoes, my work shoes. So I can get up, go change, work out, come back, shower, get into those clothes, go to work, right? Which is right here. I just walk into the other end of the house. But my wife's in there sleeping. It's all part of our routine. Routines have a lot to do with consistency and being able to deliver, and sleep is no different. Okay, you should have a routine where you're drinking and hydrating earlier in the day, not right before you go to sleep, because now you've got to go pee multiple times through the night. do that earlier so you can take that one last bathroom break at 9:45, and then I'm in bed and I'm reading until 10:15, and then I fall asleep and I sleep until 6 a.m. or whatever it is, and my alarm goes off and I get up and I go for my 30-minute walk, and then I have my coffee, and then I eat my breakfast, and then I do my workout, or whatever your routine is. Get into a routine. If you're just kind of sitting around every day waiting for something to occur, you're gonna feel like you're in vacation mode all the time, and even your emotional responses to that, your hormonal levels will change when hey, I'm kind of in relax mode versus I've got this and this and this. I mean, my in-laws are busier today than they were when they were working. Like, they do more in retirement than they were when they were working as far as a schedule goes. They don't have to go to work, but they've just got a lot of stuff going on. They're volunteering, they're doing this and that. I mean, get stuff going, get things into your schedule. The majority of my clients exercise and they've got other things going on. They're like, I got to get done at, right at 9 o'clock today. I got to go, whatever it is. But doing stuff, they're staying busy. Busy people will get things done. Busy people are living longer. And according to that, a part of that is having a healthy sleep routine, sleep habits. Also, a big part of this too is if you're not getting enough sleep, and there's very good research to support this, start to have cognitive issues earlier in life. So you got to make sure you're resting your brain, you're turning off and allowing the batteries to recharge, not just physically, but mentally. All right, gang, I think that's everything on this one. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I like doing these, seeing these little articles that pop up here and there. If you check it out, I think it's a very good article. Are they missing some things? Could they gone a little bit deeper? You know me, I'm Mr. Research Guy. I love to see all the research. I'd love to see some more charts. I want to see some more things that are really going to sell to the folks reading this of like, hey, there's a level of urgency here. But I also know they're trying to, write an article that's going to get their readers to conform and fall in, but maybe not scare them. You start dropping, 70% of you are going to die if you fall down. You start throwing stats out like that, you scare away your readers, and I understand. But when you're in this and you know the severity of things that are going on and how important this is and how the clock is ticking, man, like really 35 is pushing it. After 35, you guys, you're going downhill. That curve is happening, if you like it or not. So how fast do you want it to go down? Do you want it to just plummet and drop and you're just miserable, in your 50s because you can't physically do anything? 60s are terrible and you die early. Or do you want to resistance train? Do you want to eat healthy? Do you want to be active every day? Do you want to have a mental and physical stimulus every day where you're still kicking ass and taking names when you're 80? And then when you're 92 and you're out doing whatever it is, you just drop dead happy because your body ran out of steam. But you didn't have these years of misery where just medicine was keeping you alive or machines were keeping you alive. But hey, I made it to 102, but the last 15 years I was stuck in a bed, or I was unable to go and do anything or go anywhere. My grandmother, who was a lovely woman, and I thought the world of her, high quality of life towards the end, she just sat in her chair every day. And I kind of remember that, like 20 years of her life, just kind of sitting. She didn't really get to go do much because she couldn't do much. Physically wasn't capable, never lifted a weight, never went out on walks, never did anything physically active. And so her body, it didn't die, but it wasn't able. So she just sat, did a lot of sitting. And that's not what I want for you. That's not what I want for anyone in my circle. I'd rather you guys live to 85 and drop dead happy, doing what you do and being capable and able, than living to 100 miserable for the last 20 years of your life. I just don't see it. I'm a quality over quantity type of guy. And just being here, for the sake of being here, to be able to sit or lay in a bed and not do anything for 15 or 20 years, there's zero value in that for me. I'm going out with my boots on, baby. Like, I want nothing to do with that. And if there's a cognitive impairment that's in my future, it'll happen before that. Like, I want quality over this, and I want to be remembered well as being like a 75-year-old, shit kicker that was just like, that dude, he went out with his boots on. There's no better saying in that for me, even though I'm not a cowboy, but that saying fits so well of like, I was still out there doing, and I was still capable. And I think of Keegan's grandpa, and I think of her grandma, and I think of that, like, that mentality of, like, Harry he was still out there helping us in the yard doing stuff at 75, 80 years old, whatever he was, and he may have had a rough couple months right at the end, but that was about it. That guy was still up on his feet kicking ass. for 99.8% of his life. And that's me. That's what I want. And I know that's what the majority of the people in my circle want. I want that for you. So quality over quantity, but it's got to start now. You guys, Peter Attia said this in one of the first presentations that I saw, where he said, if you want to kick ass at 80, you've got to start at 50. Like, you can't wait till 70 and go, you know what, I think I missed the boat here. I need to start resistance training. Yeah, I say it all the time. You can always make things a little better, but there's only so much you can do. I've had clients come in their 60s and go, I want to feel like I'm in my 20s again. And I'm like, well, I don't have a pharmacy here, bro. So like, I'm not going to be able to do that. I don't mean to crush your dreams, but if you came in at 40, it'd be a different story. There is such a thing as it's too late. Can we always make you better? Yeah, but can we get you back to your best? Clock's ticking, baby. The clock is ticking. And I implore you, there's no skin in the game for me, for you. It's not like I'm making money off of you doing YouTube, right? I'm just delivering info here because I want the best for you. I want the best for our people. I want the best for my family. And my dad's almost 80, and I think he finally got the picture, and he's in here now, And so is it too late? He's improving. We've seen an improvement in the last 3 weeks. He's capable of doing a lot more now than he could 3 weeks ago. So there's improvement, but is he going to be out playing soccer with the grandkids? I don't think so. Could he have if we started this 10 years ago? Probably. See what I'm saying? But shit, if I'm not proud that he's doing this, I'm super happy. I'm the happiest guy around. So you can do this. And you need help, go find your person. Find somebody in town. Get with somebody online. If I'm your guy and I'm helping you, I love it. Again, I get it. You find somebody you connect with and you want to work with, but if you hear the message here and this gets you going in the right direction, I've done my job. You guys have any questions, throw it in the comments down below. Please subscribe, please follow, share with your friends, help me grow this page. I really appreciate it. I don't ask anything of you guys. I don't do any ad reads. I don't do anything like that. It's just the only thing that I ask is that you subscribe and maybe help me grow this page. And I really appreciate it. Hope you're all well. I love you guys. I appreciate you. I'll see you in the next one.